Somebody mentioned on one of my videos recently that they see me using ramps a lot and they're nervous about using them. How do you know when to stop? How do you get up on the ramps? How do you do this? I'm going to show you how I do it. I've been using ramps for a million years. These old steel ramps that I've had since, I don't know, the 80s, I think. And I guess I've used them so often that I don't actually think about it. It's a lot of feel. You just have to kind of feel and go with it. One of the issues that I see people having a lot with ramps is that they try to do it in their garage on a nice, clean, flat, slick, polished concrete floor. And that doesn't really give the ramp anything to grab to. So they tend to slide out from under the car sometimes, especially if you jump up on it and hit the brakes. Makes them scoot forward. I work on the ground, a gravel driveway, or even in the grass, and the ramps will sink just a little bit into that and gives it a grip, and they don't go anywhere. So I don't have that issue with them scooting away from me. The only other thing you got to worry about is not running off the ends, and that's just a matter of feel. You have to put a steady amount of torque, and then you just have to feel when you've bumped into the end of the bump stop and stop. Pull your handbrake, take it out of gear, turn it off. That's what I do. Now, I've lived at this same house and worked in this same driveway for close to 30 years. So I know what the ground here does. If it had been raining all week, if I try to put those ramps under the car over here in the grass, well, they're gonna sink. And that's gonna be unstable. It's unsafe. I wouldn't put myself under the car in that situation. But the weather's been pretty good this week, and this spot where I'm sitting right now, I know is packed in real good, and I know these ramps aren't gonna go anywhere. So that's where I'm gonna set it up. The other thing you don't do is you don't set your ramps way over there and then try to line the car up with it. Take the ramp, jam it right up in the tire, set it right on there. Now those aren't going anywhere. Now all you do is get in and ease it on up. And like I said, it's a matter of feel. This is a stick shift, it has a clutch, so it's a little trickier than an automatic. If you're using an automatic, put one foot on the brake, one foot on the gas, and just kind of ease it up. But don't herk and jerk, especially if you're on concrete. If you're on concrete, it's gonna keep sliding away from you every time you hit the brakes. Thank you, Albie. That was important information. That's it. See there? Doesn't scoot away, doesn't go anywhere. Sits there pretty as you please, plenty stable because the ground is hard. Do not do this in a swamp. You're gonna end up with a car sitting on your head. You're gonna look really weird with a car on your head. You don't want a car on your head. So that's really it for this week, kids. Just remember that you got to be safe and be conscious of what you're doing when you're using ramps. And if you run off the end, well, that sucks, but you can get out of that. Go get your jack the car up, get the ramp out, set it back down. It's not the end of the world. On a car that sits lower to the ground, like my Honda Odyssey, I have to do the same thing. The ramps kind of actually even hit the end of the bumper, but as soon as you start to move, it picks up and it takes it off of there. So you're not going to rip the front end off the car by doing that. Because if you've got a slammed, lowered Civic or even an Element or whatever, you may have issues with that. So until next week, this is Clint Searcy saying, with a little practice, a little work, you can master the use of ramps. You can do this, I promise. See you next week.